All right, let's take the phone calls at 257-5396. Let's start off with Paul. Paul, you're first up on the Vegas take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Paul, go ahead.
That I want to say the most important thing is the only entity that you should ever compare Hitler to would be the devil.
Agree.
So anybody that compares Governor Sisolak to Hitler is insane.
Paul, can I tell you, Paul? Paul, go ahead. Paul, I'll give you a chance to finish.
That's extremely ignorant. I totally agree with that.
Paul, I'll give you a chance to finish. I agree with what you just said. I just want to say personally, there are people that I've spoken to, several in the last few days, that have images on their Facebook page of Sisolak putting his arm off to a Hail Hitler sign. Those people are disgusting.
They're insane. Now, my other thing, actually, because you brought up the Hitler thing, I'm not trying to, and I know because I am a mixed person. I am Caucasian and I'm also Latino. My family has black, white, Asian, Hispanic in it. So my family is very diversified. But one thing that I would like to bring up is, and I believe that, first of all, I think that what we should do to make our country a better place, to make people more satisfied, I think we should recruit African Americans in the law enforcement industry to make sure that people of color don't feel so threatened when a police officer arrives. And I'm not saying that every Caucasian cop is bad. Just like anything in society, you're going to have bad people. It doesn't matter their race. My other thing is, like, what I'd like to compare is, what is more recent, the Holocaust or slavery? Which was more brutal, the Holocaust or slavery?
Well, I don't like to compare and contrast. Yeah, I hate to do that.
No, I'm not trying to point the finger, because you know what? 99% of Caucasians and African Americans get along. I believe that the Black Lives Matter people, it wouldn't surprise me if they're working along with Caucasians that don't want the racists to get along. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but let me just say this, sir. And by the way, I appreciate your phone call, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Slavery was atrocious. It was awful. The Holocaust was awful. I think we all could agree on that. They're terrible atrocities, both of them. And I don't want to compare and contrast, even though I do understand what you're saying. Here's what we're going to do. I know we got a full line of calls. I want you guys to wait patiently on hold. I promise you, it is a promise, I will get to every single one of you on the other side of the break. I just want you to remain patient. We're obviously talking about this mandatory mask situation in Nevada, now the state of Nevada, the uptick in cases in more than half the country, and the uptick in hospitalizations. Do you have a problem with wearing a mask? Do you disagree with Governor Steve Sisolak? Or, like me, do you think he's doing the right thing because it's a health concern? This has nothing to do with politics. At least that's my opinion. But, hey, if you disagree with me and you do have a problem with it and you think Governor Sisolak, for some reason, is playing politics with these masks, then I want to hear from you. Are you not willing to put a mask on? Or do you agree with Governor Sisolak? Your call's next. You're listening to the Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us on a Thursday, and I promised I would get right to your phone calls. We're talking about this mandatory mask situation in Nevada. Governor Steve Sisolak implementing it. It goes into effect tonight, a minute before midnight, so 11:59 p.m. Your thoughts on that? And we will get right to the calls. But before we do, I want to play an interesting piece of audio. So as you know, many cities in Arizona have also put a ban in place amid rising cases of COVID-19. I want you to have a listen to Scottsdale City Councilman, is it Guy or Guy? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's probably Guy. Guy Phillips, speaking at an anti-mask rally. Have a listen to this.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Insanity.
Yeah, insanity because you're a frickin' racist and a moron.
Well, we have anti-mask rallies, and I don't know if those are going to be coming to Nevada.
So stupid. People are so stupid. How is this guy even on a city council?
Well, he said I can't breathe, and that's the issue there.
Yeah, what an idiot.
Because
he's mocking the George Floyd thing.
It's a reference. Well, he says he couldn't breathe. He said that wasn't about George Floyd. That was because it was so warm outside.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it was.
The crowd went wild.
I'm sure it was. And then that apparently they interviewed him at his Klan rally last night. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hi. I just wanted to address, first of all, the issue you were talking about earlier with wearing masks in the heat for employees at the pool. I
Yes.
mean, I work outside all day. I wear a long-sleeve polyester shirt. It's not very breathable because the chemicals I work with for my job, working at the casinos,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
fine. You just got to hydrate when it's hot.
For the record,
As far
sir,
as people
I'm with
standing-
you. Sir, I'm with you 100%. It was my co-host that said that.
No,
I
know.
Yeah,
I'm not really criticizing. I'm just adding some perspective. I'm not really here to offer criticism, but I just want to offer some perspective here.
I
'Cause
appreciate
I'm up and
that.
down all these casinos all the time. And the whole mask issue, I mean, if they're not, without the mandate, you're going to have every person coming into town not wearing a mask because they're not ordered to, and the casino's not having
Exactly.
the balls to tell them to put one on.
Brian, thank you for bringing that up and bringing some logic to this conversation. Brian, isn't that what this is all about? It's about logic. Would you rather be a little uncomfortable and wear a mask, or would you rather get the virus or give it to somebody else?
I've been wearing a mask or a respirator in public since like the beginning of March because the company I work for has a lot of business dealings in China and everything else and just following everything. But I mean, as far as OSHA and making it an OSHA thing, that's just something that needs to flex with the times. I mean, obviously then employees need to get longer breaks and make sure they get hydration periods. It's not like, as far as it being an OSHA thing, that needs to adapt to the times we're in for the virus that's all around us.
Right, and I
All
could
these
not.
false narratives and false talking points are the problem. Like you got most
Yep.
of. I'm really appreciative that your show exists because I don't have satellite radio in my truck anymore, and everything else on AM radio is like lunacy conservative talk shows. But
You're
like,
right
all the
about
false
that.
talk- Like, well, I mean, besides like saying Confederate statues have been up for hundreds of years in the South and
Yep.
not correcting people. And just,
No, you're right.
Just
You're
going
right.
with all these narratives. And the
You know
thing-
what? You are so right at what you said about AM radio in general, and I appreciate your comments on that, Brian. Thank you for listening. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that don't give any of the other side, and we try to do both sides on this show. So, Brian, I appreciate your phone call, and I appreciate your perspective. I could not agree with you more. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, you're next on the Vegas Take. Jeff, go ahead. You're next.
Maybe he's wearing his mask.
Did we have Jeffrey Epstein on the line? Okay, sorry. We'll have to hang up on Jeff. 257-5396. Let's go to Kelly. Kelly, you're next up. What's going on? Did we lose Kelly as well? People are just so impatient this
Are we
morning.
off the air?
Yeah, I mean, are we still on the air? All right,
Hang on.
let's try this for a third time now at 257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, are you with us? What's going on? Have we lost every single caller that is on hold? It's okay. I won't have a hissy fit like some other talk show hosts do. It's okay. It's all right. I don't know what's going on with the lines. But, by the way, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-257-5396. Let's see if we could go for a super trifecta.
This would be 4, I think.
Yeah, well, that's a super trifecta, you dope. I'm talking horse racing. A trifecta is 3 people. A super trifecta is 4 people. Let's go for the super trifecta.
Is that a hat trick?
It's 4. You got to choose the
I
same
don't know.
4
I
horses
don't
in
know
a row.
what, I don't know
what
sport,
a dope.
I don't know what sports metaphors you're talking about. Let's just hope Kirk's there. Kirk!
Kirk, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
I'm here. I'm so patient.
Thanks, Kirk.
I wanted to let your listeners know that there are exemptions, medical exemptions, your mental health exemption. So if you fall into that category, you don't have to be concerned about subjecting yourself to this humiliation ritual.
Why would you call it a humiliation ritual? Explain that.
Well, I would call it that because you're putting a muffle on you can't even hear nobody. You can't. Your face is covered. Your humanity is covered. I think it's a lot deeper than health. There's a health scare.
Okay, so what is your evidence for that opinion that you think it's more than just a health issue? Please explain. So you think Governor Sisolak just wants to impair your hearing and he enjoys it? He wants to make you suffer? I'm just trying to understand your perspective.
No, I think that he's following orders. I think that he's just a yes sir, no sir type of
Okay,
man.
so the scientists and doctors that are not giving him orders, by the way, they're giving
I
him
would call
suggestions.
them pseudo-scientists myself.
Okay, well, you can. I don't know why you would call them that. There's no evidence to suggest that. So let me ask you this then: why are we seeing upticks across the country then? And why are there more hospitalizations? Is that also a lie?
There's more tests, so there's a lot more.
Okay,
tests.
you didn't. Okay,
So
listen to what I just said. Okay, so hear me out. Listen to what I just said. Okay, if you may. If it's just more testing, then why are there more people sick and why are there more hospitalizations? I want you to think about that for a second and then answer that very serious question. If by your means you're saying it's only because there are more testing, then why are more people getting sick and why are there more hospitalizations, sir?
Well, let's look at the death rates. They haven't really changed.
I didn't ask you about the death rates. I'm asking you to specifically answer the question that I asked, and I will ask it one more time for you, sir, with all due respect, okay?
Okay.
If in fact thank you. If in fact your opinion is that because we have the reason being is more testing, the question I'm asking you is then why are we seeing more hospitalizations and people not feeling well?
Okay, I'll answer that. First of all, I'll say the hospitals aren't full yet. But I'll answer it. I'll say this. You have to understand that people believe the hype. That's called the placebo effect.
You're saying people are not feeling well, but they're really feeling just fine. They're faking it, and the only reason why they're going into the hospital and checking in is because it's hype. Is that your position, sir?
No, I think that they're not faking it. They're scared. And so they.
So you think people? Okay, so let me just.
You think people are anxious?
All right, so let me just
and
get this
their
right.
anxiety is bringing them to the hospital.
So it's your
CNN
position.
is great at doing that. CNN
All right.
is a master at doing
Okay,
that.
I don't want to talk about CNN. I want to focus on you and me, sir, for a second,
they are
if that's
part of
okay.
it. That's part of the
I'm
answer, because
okay.
they're-
Well, I could say the same thing about Fox News and you, but I'm not going to go there, sir. So let's
Fox News is bad
okay,
too.
sir,
I'm with you on
sir. Okay, I'm glad we agree on that, and I appreciate you answering my question. But let's go with this conversation further. It is your position that the majority of the reason why people are going to the hospital and hospitalizations are up because of hype and people are scared. Do you have any evidence to back up that claim?
Well, yes and no, because that nurse that came out at the Elmhurst Hospital, she was saying these people were just scared. They didn't even.
So because
have
one
coronavirus,
person,
and we were putting them on the ventilators.
So
anyway.
because
the
one
Elmhurst Hospital.
There have been 5 or 10 different nurses that have done a variation of that, and some doctors. And I saw that.
So you're saying because one person made a statement that she thinks that hospitalizations across the country are up because people are scared and there is hype, and you personally, sir, believe that?
I think that's part of it, as well as more tests. So if you get tested and
this has nothing to do with more testing.
If you get tested, right, and you're found negative or positive, then you might go into a hospital.
If you
But
have
really, you
no,
were
that's
fine.
not
You were-
true.
Just
That's
like
not
the man in Africa
that's
who tested fruit.
Sir,
right?
that
He
is not
tested
that
fruit.
there is no doctor if you don't have any symptoms or you're not having trouble breathing or you don't feel good. There is not one doctor in the country, if you test positive, that would tell you to check yourself into a hospital. You know what they tell you to do? They tell you to put yourself in quarantine and stay away from people for 14 days. Sir, I appreciate the phone call, but I just wish you would form some of your opinions based a little bit more on fact. To say across the country that the reason why upticks and hospitalizations are up because of hype and people are scared is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
If hospitalizations are up, then the deaths should follow soon. But the deaths yesterday were the same. Well, actually, they were less than last Tuesday, despite the fact that the last 5 days we've averaged over 30,000 cases a day.
Okay. Well
so now I think that the reason that hospitalizations are up is because there is definitely a placebo effect, but it may be 20% of what's going on. But I believe that there are people that are getting sick that are more susceptible to the virus.
702-257-5257.
Is there a difference between hospitalization and going to the hospital?
Absolutely. Hospitalizations is not a quick ER check. Hospitalizations mean that people
if they admit you, it's not because you have anxiety. If you have anxiety, they say you have anxiety and they send you home.
Jason, Stein, I'm not even going to entertain that. It's so ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense at all. A hospitalization does not mean that you go in there and you get checked out for a sore throat or you're a little anxious or you're a little scared. If you're a little anxious or scared, they will prescribe you medication.
You could have 4 or 5 of those symptoms. They may not be severe though, and you could still be hospitalized for a couple of days.
4 or 5 hyper scared symptoms.
You could have shortness of breath. I mean, right now with what's going on in the country, this virus can do a lot to you mentally, especially if you're sitting at home every single day.
Okay.
You're not working. Maybe you're drinking a lot. You don't know what could be taking place. But I do think that this virus, at least in Arizona and in Florida, in Texas, it's obviously hitting their elderly population. Those that are more susceptible. That's why they're actually being hospitalized.
Let's get back to the calls. Do you agree with JD that and that last caller that hospitalizations are up because of the hype and because people are just scared? Or
I didn't say that. I said there is a part of it.
Okay. Or do you agree with me that, no, these people are actually sick. They're not feeling well. So we'll take your phone calls at 257-5396. Let's go to Kelly. Is Kelly next? Kelly, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Kelly?
Hi. Can you guys hear me this time?
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say, JD, I agree with you 90%. Brian, I have a hard time agreeing with you, but this time I totally agree with the mask wearing thing. we have rules to follow. We have laws to follow. Just like in school, you had to follow the rules. We have to follow the laws. Now, just wear the mask. What's the big deal? And we moved here 2 years ago from California, and it was stinking hot here when we moved. So we adjusted.
Sure.
So adjust. If you want to go to a gym and can't because you have to wear a mask, work out at home.
Agree.
We all have to adjust, and not everybody is wanting to do that. So,
Kelly, you sound like a very...
You're telling me on the bench press when I'm laying down and I've got 2 plates on each side that I should be wearing a mask when I do my reps?
Wait, when was the last time you bench pressed? You're not looking like
Brian, I could bench 3 times more than you. That being said, I'm serious. I mean, how does that make any? How are you going to be able to do that? And
so much sympathy for you.
And finish your rep or not? I mean, it doesn't make any logical sense.
Kelly, go ahead.
I'm only 5 foot tall. I don't bench press. I'm just saying I've had to adjust my life to this. Other people can adjust theirs. Work out at home. Do
Kelly, I agree. Kelly, can I ask you something? And by the way, I agree with you 100%. You sound like a very nice lady. I'm just curious. You said you disagree with me about 90% of the time. What is the biggest issue that I talk about on this show every day? I'm curious that you really strongly disagree with me about.
Well, okay, I was talking to you last week, I think it was, and I got disconnected. And actually, it was the day that the phones weren't working well everywhere. And you're a fact person. And we had a discussion about the president going to church. You said he didn't go to church or didn't read the Bible or something like that. So we kind of went back and forth on that. But so my point there is that you're a fact person, and that was not a fact that you pointed out.
All right, so we can go with that for a second, then we can move on. In the last 3.5 years, how many appearances has Donald Trump made in a church?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing. There's a record with everything that Donald Trump does. For example, you can look in a booklet.
Hold
on.
No, this isn't about politics.
You just said, ma'am, I'm not putting a spin on anything. Here's what I'm saying. I said that Donald Trump, certainly since he's been president, does not spend much time in church. Now, it's public knowledge. You can see how many times he plays golf. You can see how many times he leaves the White House. So here's what I would like you to do, and then maybe we can agree. Go ahead and look at how many times Donald Trump has gone to church. And then get back to me because it's public knowledge. Okay, Kelly? I appreciate the phone call. Thank you.
Just accept the fact that people disagree with you, Brian.
No, I base on fact.
Why not? I mean, she agrees with me and disagrees with you most of the time, but you don't like to hear that because it out of that entire passage.
Okay.
All you took out of that was, why don't you disagree with me? Let me make you agree with me.
No, you're putting words in my mouth.
And then you actually did say that Donald Trump has never been seen in a church in his life, I believe was your actual quote.
No, I did not say that.
You said he had never opened a Bible.
Yeah, he opened a Bible in his life.
We went over. I remember this call. We went over this.
I do too.
We concluded that it was a tongue-in-cheek comment.
Absolutely.
That obviously he has opened a Bible before.
And she took it literally.
And she took it as
so I could also say that, yeah, exactly. But you could also say that he does not spend a lot of time.
I just think it's funny that.
But I will say this. Donald Trump is a great Christian. 702-257-5396. He doesn't sin at all. Let's go to Bob. Bob, you're next on the Vegas Take.
One.
Hey, what's up, Bob?
Hello?
Yes, Bob. Go ahead.
What's up?
Rob, not Bob.
Okay, sorry about that, Rob. Go ahead, my friend.
Oh, okay. Hey. All right. I just want to tell anybody that I work for Frontline. I work for ECU, okay? Since the very beginning. It saddens me every time I don't see people wearing masks. I don't know how to share it, but I've seen people died mostly every day when the pandemic was on the rise.
Right.
It's just really difficult. It's traumatizing. I've seen a girl died as young as 16 years old.
Oh, my goodness. That's horrible.
Hearing these people, they're like drowning, drowning. And you cannot do anything, just watch them, okay? And then you tag them.
Rob, thank you. I appreciate what you do for a living.
Just the mask. Yeah. Thank you so much. But it's just, the simple thing is just a mask. Put that on.
I agree. Rob, can I ask you a question? You're the perfect, and thank you for, and I can tell that this is difficult for you to talk about. I can't even imagine the stuff that you have to see every day on the front lines. You're a hero as far as I'm concerned. What would you say if you had a chance to talk to not even Donald Trump, but any politician out there that's supposed to be a leader, and is not setting an example by wearing a mask. And listen, I'll put Governor Sisolak in there because he was shown in a restaurant not wearing a mask as well. What would you say to those politicians out there that are not showing leadership and not wearing a mask, like the president or like a Steve Sisolak? What would you say to them?
Hey, you know what? If for me, it becomes to me now, hey, if you want to kill yourself, go ahead. That's your choice. But just don't bring anybody with you. That's all. You cannot really implement it, and you can't really enforce these people to wear masks. Somehow, some people were not going to wear masks.
Yeah.
But as a great leader, you should show example. But what can you do? There's only so much you can do. When you see these people dying in front of you, left and right, you have to take the ventilator out because there's no way, there's no chances of there's another patient that was coming that needed that ventilator.
Yes.
And you seeing that, it just breaks your heart. Their family, the first time they see their family, as soon as they get out, they're in the bag.
Rob, let me say this in closing again, because we got to get to some other calls, my friend. You are a hero. Thank you for what you do. I could see you take your job to heart with you, and you sound like a really good man, and I'm sorry that you've had to see those things, but you're saving lives, sir, and we appreciate what you do for this city. Thank you so much, and thank you for the phone call.
Thanks for the call, Rob.
We appreciate it. And by the way, for the record, I couldn't agree with it more. 702-257-5396. Thank you, Rob. Let's go to Bob. Bob, you're next on the Vegas Take.
What's up, Bob?
Go ahead, Bob. You're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on? What do we got going on with the phone calls today? Wow, this is nuts, man. Hey, listen, if we call you, lower your radio, listen to the show on the phone. I know it's a really hard concept. And then when we call your name, say hello so I know you're there. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Mickey. Mickey, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's up, Mickey?
Hey, Mickey.
Hey, this is the first time I've ever called, and I only used to listen to different talk shows that come on the same time as you. And then when I would hear you guys talking, I thought it was crazy how you guys talked. And now I'm calling the show because I can't stop listening to you guys. I think you guys got a great program.
Thank you, Mickey. Mickey,
I appreciate that,
Mickey, we grow on you like a fungus.
Yeah, you do. I like you. I like you too, Brian. I mean,
Thank you.
I didn't like you because I thought you were rude. But, I mean, the more I listen to you, you make sense. And I think some of the people who you're rude to, they kind of deserve it. and I would for sure go have a beer with you and hang out with you. I think you're both great, but I like your attitude because
Thank you, Mickey.
fight back. You fight
Mickey,
back. You don't let people push you around.
Mickey, for the record, for the record, Mickey, you are the opposite of a buffoon. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. We're not done with the call yet.
Yeah, but we're not done with the call yet, Mickey. But no, I appreciate those.
Right.
What's on your mind, my friend?
And make no mistake about it, Brian is rude. All
right, Mickey, what's on your mind, my friend?
With the mask thing, I work for a food distributorship, and we deliver food, and we go to convenience stores, and we do all this stuff. And I agree 100% that we should be wearing masks, and I'm not a big fan of Sisolak either, but I do think that he did the right thing. I also think that what you're saying with President Trump, that he should be wearing a mask because people at my job, the managers, they expect us as workers to wear our masks, but then they walk around without a mask on.
Right,
I mean, it does show exactly what you're saying, Brian. It's a lack of leadership.
Exactly. And listen, I don't want people to be uncomfortable. I can't get in Steve Sisolak's head, but I don't think he wants people to intentionally be uncomfortable. But he doesn't want people to die. He doesn't want the virus to continue to rise, and he doesn't want to have to shut down the economy. Let's get back to the phone calls. 702-257-5396. Now let's go to Paul. Paul, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good.
Doing all right.
Listen, yeah, good. Sooner or later, everybody's going to get this virus, one way or the other. It's the death rate that makes the difference. It's not the hospitalization rate at this time, and it's not how many people get it. You got to get the antibodies to this. It's like any other virus. So it's the death rate that's important. I want to know from Brian, what do you propose to do? Are you wanting people to mask up until there's a foolproof vaccine? Do you want this shutdown ever to lift until that vaccine is in place? Are you in that group?
I have never said that I want everything in the economy shut down until we have a vaccine. I don't know why you would You would insinuate that I did say that. It's just how you interpret things, which is wrong, sir. With all due respect, here's my opinion, and I will make it very, very clear. We can't have people in large gatherings. Now, whether that is a church of 200 people not practicing social distancing, or George Floyd's funeral, which I also criticized, or a Black Lives Matter protest, or a Trump campaign rally. Let's start at the top. We cannot have these events going on now. Now, why do I say that? I say that because a good amount of these people are not practicing social distancing. Many of these people not wearing masks. That's number one, okay? Number two.
Why this virus, though? Why this virus and not any other virus? Are you
so now I just tried to start off by answering your question, my number one priority, and you respond by saying, why this virus? I'll answer your second question. We don't have a vaccine for this virus. We haven't seen a virus like this before. That's not me saying that. That is the scientists and doctors. It is far more deadly than the flu. We know that.
Not far more deadly.
Yes,
Brian.
It is.
That's
this is not
where
the
you're
flu.
wrong.
It is.
Really? This is just like the flu.
It is more. No, I didn't say just like the flu, but far more deadly than the flu would be the Spanish flu, for example.
That's hyperbole.
This is most likely.
Hyperbole?
This is most likely 2.5 to 3 times more deadly than the flu.
So let's just go with JD's theory on that.
It's not a theory.
Let's just go with that. Hold on a second.
That's directly from scientists.
We are still
and professionals.
Hold on. Here's where I disagree with you.
That's fine.
We are still in the first.
You're not disagreeing with me. You're disagreeing with the scientists.
Well, you're not listening to me.
I am listening to you.
Okay, so listen. We are still in the middle of phase 1 of this virus, or I should say the first wave of the virus.
That's what Steve Sisolak said.
Hold on a second. It's not what Steve Sisolak said.
That's what he said last night. Yes, it is.
Okay. It is also what the scientists and doctors say. But I know you just want to go. What do you mean, oh, God? What, are we in the third wave of this virus, sir? Tell me, what wave of the virus are we in?
Doctors, they oppose each other. You're taking one side.
I'm going to ask you. Okay, so I'm going to ask you.
There are a lot of conflicting opinions.
If I could just talk with this caller now. Sir, what phase of this virus are we in? Is this wave 1 or is this wave 5?
It's a virus that's always going to be here, Brian. It's a
virus. It's a virus that is always going to be here. Spoken like a true scientist and scholar, sure.
Yes.
Thank you for the phone call. You're very intelligent.
Yeah, thanks for the call. And Brian, we don't know what wave this virus is in.
Okay,
we really don't.
Okay, but you're going to attack Steve Sisolak.
This is
okay. All right, 702-257.
I didn't attack him. That's what he said last night. Brian.
All right, and I agree with him. We're in the first wave of this virus. Let's take one more phone call. Let's go to Richard. Richard, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Richard?
Yeah, I'm pretty far to the right, and I hate the mask, but I got to say, I watched Sisolak talk, and I got a pretty good nose for when something's political and when they're BSing me, and I read none of that from this guy. He seems completely sincere. He comes across as pretty rational, and I think I sense from him that he emphatically wants to protect the people of the state.
Richard, can I ask you a question? And by the way, I agree with you 100%. I appreciate the fact that, listen, you're a conservative, but you're able to see things for what they are and not see through whether there's an R or a D next to somebody. So I want to ask you this. Why is it that you think that so many conservatives out there disagree with you and want to attack Steve Sisolak for this, but yet you won't?
Because we get so much rhetoric, we get lied to so much, and it's very easy to just get in the mindset they're all full of it, and
right.
We just don't want to believe anything they say. But this is different, and I've got a nose for when. I can usually sense when they're being egotistical and when they're talking down and when they're just trying to sell something.
No, I agree.
I don't get that from him.
I agree. You know what I don't get, sir? And I agree with you again. You know what I don't understand? Why would he want to make everybody's lives uncomfortable? He doesn't want to do that, right? I mean, he wants people to be safe. He wants people to be healthy. He wants the economy to remain open. He doesn't want you to have to wear a mask and be uncomfortable.
He's also threatening to take the licenses of businesses, and he's allowing people to report on businesses that are not practicing social distancing. There's a lot more to it than that, Brian.
He also said,
my biggest issue is the fact that we are asked to wear a mask the second we leave our home. That to me is completely insane.
Okay, well,
if I'm at a restaurant down on the strip and I'm outdoors, well, am I okay with wearing a mask in that situation? Sure, fine. But every time I leave my home, when I'm at the pool, when I'm in the middle of the gym, something along those lines, to me, that's too much.
All right, so we got to take a break. I promise you we'll try to get to more calls in hour number 2, but coming up next, we have a very interesting guest. His name is John Ponder. He is with an organization called Hope for Prisoners. He was facing 23 years behind bars. He turned his life around. He met with President Donald Trump recently, and he's going to talk to us about what should we do. What should we do about some of these people that get back out there into society? Great guest we have next. John Ponder coming up next right here on the Vegas Take.